Bill.
Bill Maher, the grifting fraud.
Hello, I'm Crafty Andy, and these are my thoughts. Bill Maher was one of those people that I enjoyed seeing clips of over the years.
New rule, if you're going to make an updated, more realistic Footloose about a high school kid in rural Kansas who's fighting for his right to dance, he should probably be gay. And he's not fighting for the right to dance, he's fighting for the right to learn about evolution without also having to learn about how Jesus rode dinosaurs.
YouTube postings were what exposed me to him, and he was one of the major public figures who would flat out say that they were an atheist.
Not only is atheism not a religion, it's not even my hobby. And that's the best thing about being an atheist. It requires so little of your time.
To me, that was incredible. Being raised Christian and just getting out of the mental trappings of religion, seeing a self-proclaimed atheist successfully achieve a career on television defied the narrative that was belted into people like me for 20 years, that non-believers are miserable and that they ultimately fail in all their ambitions by divine will, or are allowed to flourish in their ambitions because of Satan's will. It's funny how that works. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Having a huge hate boner for theism in general that has never gone away and probably never will go away from me, Bill Maher was one of those people that was able to give it a good stroke with the movie Religulous.
If Santa Claus can hit every house in the world,
well, I don't believe in Santa Claus.
Of course not. That's ridiculous. That's
Right.
one man flying all around the world and dropping presents out a chimney. That's ridiculous.
Right.
One man hearing everybody murmur to him at the same time. That I get.
A movie that not only pointed out the absurdities and hypocrisies of religion, but made a case against its existence altogether.
Plain fact is, religion must die for mankind to live. The hour is getting very late to be able to indulge in having key decisions made by religious people, by irrationalists, by those who would steer the ship of state not by a compass, but by the equivalent of reading the entrails of a chicken.
There are years of clips of him making fun of conservatives, poking fun at the triggered pussy snowflakes freaking out over gay marriage.
A new rule now that a Cheney, a McCain, and a Bush have come out to support gay marriage. It's your turn, Obama. Who are you waiting for? The state of Alabama?
Being a self-proclaimed socialist.
Socialism is the reason you don't have to bring your own highway when you want to drive somewhere. It's why there's a fire department to show up when your burning Nike spread to the house.
That clip is 2018, not even 4 years ago from today. Now he's going on Ben Shapiro's show talking about how the left is going too far, spouting the very right-wing talking points he used to make fun of on his show.
It's that 5 years ago, no one was talking about defunding the police. I never heard that phrase 5 years ago. That's not me changing. That's things changing.
Defunding the police is in regards to adjusting police budgets so that they can focus more on social interactions with people who are more qualified for certain situations, like a mental health situation, a domestic situation, things of that nature. Police are expected to do way too much, so it's about time we start dividing up the funds for other avenues rather than just react to every situation with a hammer. And he can bitch all he wants about defund the police. There is a city that actually abolished its police in New Jersey. Camden, one of those murder capitals of the country, managed to abolish its police force, and violence has actually gone down. Go figure. But that's another deep topic that we don't have time for today, so let's move on to the next part.
I'm reacting to it, as I've always been. Letting 3-year-olds decide what gender they are. This wasn't something 5 years ago.
20 years ago in the mid-2000s, I was witnessing trans kids being showcased on talk shows. Considering these are shows that I've seen back in 2006, I couldn't find any clips, so here's some science instead. How does gender identity develop in children? Around age 2, children become conscious of the physical differences between boys and girls. Before their 3rd birthday, most children can easily label themselves as either boy or girl. By age 4, most children have a stable sense of their gender identity. Gender expression aside. See, learning about this shit isn't hard. There is none of this letting their kids choose their gender. There isn't any surgery to be done, nor will it need to be done on children who are still developing. And if you think a person's gender can be molded by upbringing, Just look up the documentary The Boy Who Was Turned Into a Girl. A psychologist, Quack, has a family raise their son as a girl after a botched circumcision.
The penis has been burnt off from circumcision.
How about we ban circumcision instead of bullying the only trans girl playing sports in Utah? You know, something that proves itself when it comes to the harm it causes. Such as Australia, where one baby died and the other nearly bled to death from a botched procedure. Have you ever seen it done?
I spent months learning about infant male circumcision, but it only took me watching a 5-minute medical training video to convince me this is a barbaric practice that needs to stop.
Okay, so first thing, make sure he's well restrained. So the foreskin, okay? Then we repeat the process with just one end and clamp.
She says she can't imagine now what she'll say to her son when he's old enough to understand what's happened to him.
How could you explain it to your child that you don't have a penis?
He doesn't care. In the end, it's all about getting a bigger audience. Integrity be damned. No matter what happens in this country, Bill Maher will be fine. Wouldn't matter if he was trans, gay, black, Jewish. He's fucking rich, and that's all he cares about, and that's all that matters. He'll say anything he needs in order to maintain that incoming check.
Abolish the police and the border patrol and capitalism and cancel Lincoln. No, I get it. The problem isn't that I don't get what you're saying or that I'm old. The problem is that your ideas are stupid. It's teaching children they're oppressors and math is racist. Making Mr. Potato Head gender neutral.
Mr. Potato Head. Bill Maher doesn't seem to understand no one was advocating for this, nor generally gives a shit. Anyone over the age of Roblox knows that corpos are reactive to social changes and not proactive. The only thing they are proactive to is making more money. This particular comment is especially hilarious to me because it wasn't long ago you said this about conservatives complaining about gay wedding cakes.
Conservatives have to admit they've lost the culture wars when they're reduced to demanding the right to not serve wedding cake to gay people. That's the biggest problem facing America, not climate change or terrorism or the wealth gap, but gay cake.
Who is celebrating whenever a change occurs with corporate brands? Mr. Potato Head, M&M's, Disney's gay representation? Representation that is overhyped only matters to chuds who don't want it there at all. While Disney donates millions to the politicians behind the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida which passed, and you endorsed yourself.
It's not like there's no kernel of truth in that maybe kids that young shouldn't be thinking about sex at all. It's not like you're not allowed to literally not say gay, but they just don't want teachers talking about it. They think it's the province of parents. What do you think?
People get confused whenever these discussions come up regarding these laws. To help, I have to put you in the mindset of the ones that wrote up the half-century-old talking points Bill Maher is parroting. Homosexuality is seen as a behavior, a disorder, a habit like drinking alcohol or biting your fingernails. It is seen as a learned behavior as well, which is why they promote the idea that the subject shouldn't be talked about or mentioned at all. Doesn't matter what science you show them, or whatever relatively stable individuals you find that are able to work a job, be semi-coherent in explaining points. Homos are a creation, a wedge issue, something to be pointed at and blamed for or distract from the world's problems.
This is not going to improve Floridians' lives. This is not an urgent problem. This is a dodge. It's another culture war that's meant to score cheap, easy points rather than really solving Americans' problems.
When the Arthur episode, Mr. Ratburn gets married, an episode where a male character has a wedding with another male character, the word gay is never used. No explanation of what gay is, just this dude walking alongside this dude. Bill Maher today would see that as exposing kids to sex, as many of the complaints regarding the show stated. No one is talking about sex. The point is that they want something vague and broad to use against queer existence in general, meaning you can't mention if a kid is trans or if they have two parents of the same gender, or if their uncle is in a polyamorous marriage. It's not even a majority of the population, and these people want to act like it's some kind of threat against freedom or something. So to make the world more free, we must take away other people's freedoms to exist. And then Bill Maher jumps to critical race theory and gender issues.
The same thing with the race, with the CRT thing. I feel like it's disingenuous when the liberals say, you know, we just want to teach history. Right. And like, no one's against that. Well, I'm sure there are some fucking rednecks who are against that. But most reasonable people are not against realistically teaching history.
It's not like you can't mention slavery, separating kids by race and oppressors and non-oppressors, and they're little kids. It is going on. I don't know what is going on with the gender as much.
Whatever assumption you have about critical race theory, it's wrong. All right? You're wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Just accept that you're wrong. It's one of those issues that are distorted to the point that people would point to my learning in the 90s, watching movies about Brown v. the Board of Education, and label that as critical race theory. It's something taught in law school primarily, not in your elementary school. Now back to this Florida bill though, because Bill's comments only get more fucking stock, because that's what they are. Stock assets pulled from the shelf of conservative edicts.
Okay, then it says something LGBTQ advocates argue could lead to some students being outed to their parents. Outed to parents? Like, shouldn't parents know everything anyway?
Yeah.
What teenager, what adult that remembers what it's like to be a teenager, because obviously Bill Maher forgot.
I was 13. I would have worshipped anything that could have allowed me to masturbate even more than I was masturbating, or get a girl. That God I would have definitely worshipped.
Which teenager would ever want their parents to know everything or anything that is going on with them, let alone find out that they are queer when they are not ready to come out or can't come out? Especially Florida. Get fucking real. Can you imagine growing up in a family that you know does not approve of gay people? Could be small comments. Man, they shouldn't be shoving that shit down our throats with these movies and TV shows. Everything has to be gay and black now. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned Leave It to Beaver? Could be church sermons stating it's a sin. Now imagine those parents getting a phone call about their son or daughter acting a little strange. Might be some kind of queer.
Vast majority of the bill is about that, is about parents' right to know if their child is identifying, changing the way that they're, presenting, if the teacher's calling them by a different name, this kind of thing.
I'll save the whole story for later, but when I told my dad I had a boyfriend and was bisexual, my shit was already packed up in the car and ready to be moved out just in case. What straight person has to go through that? It took me an hour in order to work up the nerve, hiding in the basement, crying and shaking and raging over it. I was 25 years old. It was only a few years ago before that I accepted myself, and a few years before that I got over religious guilt and religion altogether. I can't fathom what it would have been like to come home one day and find out a teacher called my fucking parents and told them I was queer when I was still a teenager, not self-sufficient, still developing my emotions and tastes, and not even sure what the hell I want to do with myself. Of course, I would never have to deal with that if I just ignored my bisexuality and just pretended to be straight, I suppose. The coward's route. It won't be surprising to hear Bill Maher a year from now say, I don't know if there's a God, but maybe there's something to these Christian values the left tend to demonize so readily. Fuck you, Bill Maher, you fake piece of shit. Media puppets like you are the reason why so many people hate the mainstream media in general. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, it's another demonstration of money placed over substance. You sure had a whole lot of us fooled, though, thinking you were actually interested in bringing about positive change to the world. But no, all you really cared about is pandering to whatever demographic will pay you the most. Rest in piss, you woolly-backed taffer. These are just my thoughts, though. I figure we look at some comments people have made in response to Bill Maher's, revelation. As a Swede, it's been eerie to see how much US has evolved into Sweden the last years. The things about sensitivity, the extreme left in winning elections and shutting people down by calling everybody racist, homophobes, and woman haters. It's been a thing here for 30 years, and it's been prosperous for the left and devastating for the country as a whole. Ah yes, because Sweden is such a third world country, we should be more theocratic like Saudi Arabia, right? The country that doesn't hate women. I love these people. Yeah, we don't hate gay people, we just want them in the closet where we can't see them. Preferably dead. We don't hate women, we just want them in the kitchen and breeding, giving birth. I mean, we're not racist, we just want black people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps despite all the racist policies that have kept them down for generations. Yeah, we don't hate them, we don't hate anyone. No one is tricked by wokeness if you have common sense or critical thinking skills. Ah, critical thinking skills. Something the Republican Party of Texas wants to do away with. Bill Maher is learning the lesson that so many of the far right have learned. All you have to do to become far right is simply not change your mind about things. Don't move with the left when they move and you're far right. Yes, black people are okay, but can we get rid of this gay shit? That's way too far. Maher might like to know that free speech has always been a conservative concept. The First Amendment was modeled from the British author John Milton, blah, 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 blah. Who gives a shit? Currently, conservatives are the ones that want to be the only ones allowed to be on public platforms and deny anyone else in the name of the free market. Think it's bad now trying to get monetized online talking about queer issues? Imagine what it would have been like in the 90s if YouTube existed back then. Ellen DeGeneres got death threats and advertisers pulled from the network over her coming out on TV. That's about as much as I can take. I'm pretty sure the rest are equally stupid and moronic and can be ignored. Good day now. Subscribe, share, like, comment me ideas for topics and art. Patreon if you want early episodes, sketchbook access, and high-res downloads. Discord group to interact with me and other creators. Under the group name Horny Jail Alliance. Prints are for sale at the online store. Live streams on the Rotten A Creations channel. Some real weird stuff on the Weird Zors channel. Share, subscribe, like I said, goodbye.